Добро утро на всички. Много се радвам, че имаме така приятна публика на третия лекторски модул на фестивал Процес пространство на 36-то издание. Това е една идея, която започнахме преди 3 години, да каним хора, които имат определени свои виждания, концепции за развитие на съвременното изкуство, хора, които имат наблюдение върху процеси, но не само да гледат проблемите, но да гледат и в перспективи, да развиват проекти, нещо, което да имат да ни споделят интересно, което ние сме преценили, че наистина ще бъде от полза на всички, които ще го чуят. Днес имаме 5 лектора. Това са Venelin Shurelov, Катрин Зингер, Катя Тричкова, Марина Щербенко и Deyan Pavlov. Няма да са точно в същия ред, по който ще се бъдат представени, но мисля, че ще бъдат интересни на всички, така че всички, които ни гледат, независимо дали са тук на място или в стриминга, мисля, че ще им бъде много интересно.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome for our third year of the lecture program. We started the lecture program because we feel that there's a big need to talk about art, contemporary art, art in general. We can be all more honest of the problems of the artist, contemporary art in general. So we are always very happy to invite you here, to have you. This is very intimate place, as you can see, but I believe people are really curious and interested to come here. So our first lecturer, Venelin Shurelov, artist is small word for him. He's really much more than this. He is lecturer at the Academy in Sofia. He invented the master program Digital Art. He is a founder of DA Festival. He is so much more than all of this. I most probably cannot even say all of what he is. He is a very charming speaker. Today he would like to present his works or his speech in Bulgarian, but please stay here. He will have also presentation. At the end we can have a small discussion in English as well. So that's it. Thank you very much, Venelin. welcome here.
Здравейте всички! Благодаря за поканата. Преди всичко, благодаря за възможността да споделя няколко проекта, няколко мисли, няколко представи за съвременното състояние на изкуството. Озаглавих днешната тема процес-ориентирано изкуство, човек-ориентирани въпроси. От вече 20 години живо ме занимава темата за изкуството като жив организъм. Изкуството като резултат от функционирането в система. Изкуството като процес, чието степени на важност са на първо място за сметка на визуалното, за сметка на разбираемото понякога, за сметка на пазара. Процес-ориентираното изкуство е много съществен пробив в света на изкуството. Пробив, който има много различни измерения, но винаги съм си задавал въпросът защо? Какво е толкова важното в това да превръщаме нещо нематериално, нещо, което не можем да притежаваме, нещо, което не ни харесва дори, нещо, което не разбираме до край. Защо залагаме на тези форми на изкуство? Защо те ни вълнуват? Защо са част от съвремието ни? Знаете тази чудесна фраза, че не всяко днешно изкуство е съвременно. И какво е това, което можем да назовем съвременно изкуство, което е съвременно в един постоянен процес на самоактуализация, което е постоянно в динамика, в обновяване, в нестабилност. И процес-ориентираното изкуство е именно такова. Една постоянна динамика, един постоянен процес на самоактуализация. Започвам своята презентация с един проект, който вероятно добре познавате. Той беше разположен на площадка Мавзолей близо 2 години. Както един приятел казваше, сега трябва да се научиш да носиш публично вина, тъй като това е проект разположен в една много силно чувствителна зона. В градската среда, знаете, там беше бившият мавзолей на един комунистически лидер и пространството е заредено с идеята не само идеята, но и с сенките на авторитарното. И реших да направя едно произведение, което се справя именно с това. С тоталитарното, с авторитарното, с антидемократичното. Инсталацията „Един човек“ е процес-ориентирано изкуство. Тя е снабдена с множество функции и може би едно от най-важните, на които в процеса на комуникиране на този проект много държах да бъде разбрано, е това, че произведението може да излезе от контрола на автора, че художникът може да отстъпи стъпка назад и да се еманципира от собственото си произведение и да му даде възможност, като един жив организъм, да напредне в своето съществуване, в вариациите на своите проявления, в срещите си с публиката, в измененията, които претърпява и в крайна сметка в съдържанието, което излъчва. Създадох произведение, всъщност, което няма собствено съдържание. Един кух обект, един призрак, едно кухо празно тяло, едно електронно тяло, което няма собствено съдържание, няма концепция, която да излъчва непременно, работи на принципа на присвояването. Художественото произведение, което работи през апроприация, през всичко това, което влезе в полезрението му, т.е. художествено произведение, което е снабдено с инструменти за контрол, за наблюдение, за връзка, медийни връзки, информационни връзки, статистически връзки. Може би само тук да допълня, няма да се разпростирам твърде дълго около разказа за този проект, но един от любопитните модули, през които работеше един човек, беше свързан с функцията да си присвоява заглавия от 6 уебсайта. 6 уебсайта, които бяха посветени на политика, на култура, на обществен живот, на технологии. И присвоявайки си ежедневно заглавия, инсталацията трансформираше тези изречения в първо лице единствено число. Така че всяко едно действие, всяко едно събитие в глобален порядък се превръщаха в негов израз, в негово състояние, в негово намерение, поведение, решение. Тоест, един човек пое отговорността върху всички процеси, някои от тях твърде политизирани, твърде неудобни дори, твърде критични, но този риск и тази радикална намеса в градското пространство имаха нужда от един събирателен образ, който да се превърне в колективно тяло. Едно безмилостно огледало, което да поеме отговорността спрямо важните процеси и важните наличности. Минавам нататък. Мисля, че придобихте представа около начина, по който изглежда самата работа. И имах известно колебание какво точно още да ви покажа. И освен на моите неща, избрах 2 проекта, които мисля, че са важни спрямо настоящия момент. Единият от тези проекти се казва Ухото на Олег. Ухото на Олег е произведение на един немски автор, който се казва Йохем Хендрикс, който е автор, работещ с документи, с архиви, с автентичност, колкото с автентичност, толкова и с съмнения спрямо автентичността. И в тази работа има един много важен процес на трансформация, който мисля, че ще ви се стори много любопитен. И освен, че е любопитен, аз го намирам и твърде важен, защото той би могъл да бъде поставен в контекста на различните войни, които преживяваме колективно и по-специфично на войната в Украйна, защото в кратката справка, тя е много лаконична от името на автора, той твърди, че двама киевски полицаи съдействат той да стигне до Олег и след дълги преговори да го убеди да му даде част от ухото си, което той е загубил неизвестно по какви причини. След това успява да купи авторът този фрагмент от човешкото тяло и по лабораторен път да го трансформира в водород, който след това се трансформира в синтетичен диамант. След това този диамант бива поставен на златна приставка, която Олег, под формата на обеца, която Олег поставя на остатъка от собственото си ухо. И всъщност тази снимка, това изображение, което виждате, самият Олег, на ухото му има обеца, съдържаща синтетичен диамант, резултат от химически или физичен синтез на другата част от собственото му ухо. Ето процес, който светкавично ни отстранява от идеята за естетично, от идеята за притежанието. Тя ни въвежда в един контекст, свързан с етиката, особено в контекста на войната, какво правим с всички тези тела, как ние оценяваме, как остойностяваме загубата, ампутацията, драматичният, катастрофичен ход, през който през различни травматични обстоятелства преминават нашите тела. Доколко едно тяло би могло да се превърне и в фетиш, в обект, и кой задава стойността. До каква степен ние владеем мерките и съдбите на собствената ни телесност. Телесност, която е в силна позиция на чупливост, на уязвимост, на ранимост. Другият проект, който искам да ви представя, отново е свързан с обекта, с предмета, с етичността, с едни също полукриминални процеси, които съпътстват производството на артефакти. Това е проект на едно швейцарско-британско дуо, казват се Медиен груп Битник, и проектът, който представям, се нарича Random Darknet Shopper. Какво се случва с този проект? Авторите създават един алгоритъм, който е въплатен в бот, който има специална задача. Задачата му е да си осигурява достъп в Darknet, знаете за това пространство, тъмната мрежа, където този шопър е на шопинг, определен от собственият му алгоритъм, т.е. той е свободен да пазарува каквото прецени, разполага с $100 в биткоин и в продължение на седмично и в продължение на, мисля, около 6 месеца тършува из този пазар, където през полезрението на този бот преминават над 16 000 стоки, от които той избира от етикети маркови, през екстази, през различни шперцове, всевъзможни обекти, които са налични в това пространство, и изпраща покупките в една галерия. Така че този бот се превръща едновременно и в автор, който осигурява изложбените експонати, същевременно и куратор на едно либерално, невидимо, селективно поведение. И този проект потвърждава идеята, с която започнах в началото, че авторът може да създаде една рамка, един контекст, един модел, който функционира отвъд неговия контрол, може да придобие различна степен на независимост и да се прояви в разширяването на политическите и културни граници. Защото през тези автоматизирани процеси ние много често имаме всъщност привилегията да се натъкнем на нещо, което съзнателният избор не би допуснало. Те са важни заради своята автономия, за своята технологична детерминираност. Те решават, те определят. И отвъд застрашителният тон, който ние обикновено прилагаме по отношение на технологиите. Мислим, че те винаги ни застрашават, винаги ги асоциираме с някаква висока степен на опасност. Ние тук виждаме едни важни трусове, важни тектонични размествания, които изваждат на повърхността процеси, към които ние рядко имаме достъп. И поради това лично аз ги оценявам много високо като автор и това стоеше зад решението ми да ги споделя с вас. Говорейки за автоматизирани процеси, искам набързичко да споделя нещо ново, нещо горещо, нещо извънредно, което предстои да се появи в нашата микрообщност. Това е един проект, който съм нарекал Галерия Автоматик. И особеното в проекта е, че ще бъде едно изложбено пространство, функциониращо като вендинг машина, като автомат, такива каквито ние познаваме в градската или каквато и да е публична среда. Галерията ще функционира с платен достъп и ще бъде на автопилот. Ще работи нон-стоп, 24 часа, 7 дни в денонощието и ще предлага съдържание, което е съответно на тази функционалност. Съдържание, което е съответно на тази функционалност, аз намирам в областта на новите медии, на дигиталните изкуства и това определя профила на пространството. То ще представя такова изкуство и ще функционира като един самостоятелен организъм. Надявам се, че също мога да прилагам и кураторски практики, които да либерализират този процес, да ни изненадват със съдържание и с различни принципи на селекция. Ето това е екипа, който стои зад галерията и един блиц момент, свързан с поканата да подкрепите някога, по какъвто и да е начин, това начинание. Забелязваме, че тук в тази страница е маркирано и логото на фондация Зингер-Захариев, които са първите партньори, които разпознаха тази ексцентрична идея като важна и им благодаря за подкрепата. И минавайки към този последен модул, отворен към диалогичност, оставям на заден план едно произведение.
Добре. Да. Венелин, благодаря ти. Аз не мога да спра да слушам твоето представяне. Бих слушала цял ден. Ще превключа на английски, само за да включа и останалата публика. I will switch in English just to include also the others at this discussion. The last presentation that Venelin made was for his new upcoming gallery, automatic gallery, the hot news as they call it. I will just say it shortly. It's a automatic gallery functioning on the as a vending machine, as he just told us. It will work 24/7. You can enter with a you pay the entrance, you go inside, and it will generate different image or
One artist, one object.
One artist, one object. I'm very curious actually to see it is up. When is the opening?
In October.
In October it will be open in Sofia. He also invite us to donate for this project. As you know, artwork needs a lot of help, real financial help, and the first people who really recognized this as a great project was Katrin Zingher-Zakhariev, who already were included in the project. Venelin, I see in your work the man really as a central figure very often. And not only that, but you really like to give life, to give them life at the beginning or let them live on their own, like the one person at the beginning that we saw. A little bit like maybe you are Isaac Asimov in the to give them really space to live on their own. I like that idea. Maybe can you tell me what you are presenting here? I saw your work here at the exhibition. Tell me again the name, the title. Homo?
Homo volans. It's the flying man.
The flying man, yeah.
Yeah.
This
There's
I didn't know.
a subtitle, too long, I don't remember it.
Can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I could tell. It's I created in 2004 Subhuman Theater, a project that it's actually doesn't exist as a theater. It's a phantom. So the leading idea was to create contemporary mythological creatures, because in the ancient times and through the whole history we faced a lot of doppelgangers, some doubles of us, some culturological actors that represent ourselves. Usually they represent our bad behavior or deviation, pathology, frustrations, and we harm this, like Frankenstein, for example. And every time, every historical and cultural time frame create such representatives. And for me it was interesting to see around and to try to describe, to find, to discover the existence of these creatures. So I built up some sort of very schematic human figures, and I will start playing with them. And maybe this is the core. Someone asked me, what is the concept of your work? But sometimes I don't need a concept. Sometimes I need to play with things. So I play with these figures and...
so homo ludens as well.
Of course, of course. So they played, they found some valuable things. You will see what kind of things they found.
Thank you very much. If somebody has a question or want to share something with Venelin, then we would like maybe to continue with our next. Thank you, Venelin, very much.
Thank you.
We are honored to have you here. Just to tell you, we are chasing Venelin since last year to come here, so we are very happy that he came. Our next lecture, we met, me and Chrissy, we met him last year in Sofia. And a couple of times I was asking him, what is he doing actually? He's representing artists, he's an art manager, art consultant, but maybe he couldn't tell me exactly what, because maybe this is not the right word. Maybe art consultant is not enough. Anyway, he works from artists from different places in Europe. Even he suggested us 3 artists that are here with us for this for Process Space Festival. And finally, I'm very curious, Deyan Pavlov, to invite you here and hear about your work, about the way you maybe choose your artist. And I'm happy to invite you. Deyan, you don't have a presentation? No. Deyan preferred to have the whole conversation more in a dialogue. I will stay with you if you need help, if you don't want me to let you alone. Okay.
But it will be nice if this becomes sort of dialogue.
Yes, he will tell us a little about himself and the way he works, and I hope this becomes more as a dialogue. Thank you.
На първо място искам да благодаря на всички за времето и за вниманието, че сте тук и за възможността да прекарам тези последни няколко дена с вас и да науча много интересни нови неща за мен. И се надявам този фестивал да приключи в положителен начин за всички. Now, if you allow me, I'm going to switch to English because I guess our foreign guests didn't improve their Bulgarian during the last week. So, what Rada said that how would I describe my work? I think a good way would be with an example. It's a short story. In 1979 in New York, German-Czech artist Georg Dokupil decided to have an exhibition in one of the most prominent galleries in the city, that was Leo Castelli's. But without the knowledge of Leo Castelli. What he did was that he did an installation on the rooftop on the building across the street of Leo Castelli's gallery. He did an installation of glasses, of sort of mirrors, that would reflect the light at certain point of the day, and would project a sort of a light cones on the wall of the gallery. And then he printed invitations and he sent them to his friends. And this is how basically he had a show in one of the most important galleries in the city at that time. I use this example because for me this is, from one side, it's an example of course, of 70s conceptual art, but also it's an example of the freedom an artist could have to do basically whatever he wants. And I tend to believe, or my goal is that every artist could have this freedom of thinking and creating and developing the craziest of projects and ideas and finding the ways to represent them in the best possible way. And I think that this freedom many times is kind of limited by boring things, to call them in some way. And I think the main job of an artist is to create. But unfortunately, there are so many daily problems, not just daily, but also in the whole process that make the whole creative process of the artist much more complicated and more difficult. So basically, it's where I would like to step in and help to make this more bearable. So maybe this is more or less the description of what I do. I don't know if it's clear enough. So I would consider myself not so much an art dealer or a consultant, but more as a facilitator of opportunities for, especially for young artists to grow and to develop and to create more without having to worry for one part of the problems of the whole process. Of course, my job consists also with connecting artists with galleries and museums and private collections, and it's inevitable to be part of this whole process. But let's say that my ideological aspect of my work would be basically to help to get to this freedom. Now the topic of the talk, which is the problems of contemporary art. There are so many that we could spend the next couple of days and get to the only conclusion that most of them have no solutions. So I don't know exactly how to organize them in a way that we can actually discuss them. I've been living abroad for many years, and for the last more than 15 years I have been a bit disconnected with Bulgaria. But in the last 2 years I tried to spend more and more time here to get in contact with the art scene and with artists and with other factors that are involved. And I could share with you, for example, some of my impressions that could be considered problems of the contemporary art in Bulgaria, or maybe in this whole wonderful territory that are the Balkans. And I think one of the main problems is that things are too much mixed in between them, from my perspective, of course. I think there is no separation between key elements in contemporary art, which would be, of course, the artist in first place, then the gallerist, then the art representative or art dealer, if you want to call it like this. And then the last place would be the institution or the museum or the whatever government or administrative institution. And it's very difficult to find, at least for me, the exact relation between all these elements. I've met gallerists who are also dealers, who are also curators, who are also involved in many institutional and government projects. And I think it's very important that there is a certain border between these elements. And I think this is something that is improving and will improve for sure in the future years. Also, another key element is, in my opinion, the so-called private sector, or let's call it like private collectors, not museum collections. That this is also something that in Bulgaria is not that much, let's say, evolved in a way. Basically, for me, everything resumes that in a way that art is not taken seriously enough. And artists as well, but these are two things that are completely connected, of course. So I think first there should be a sort of, how to say, a sort of different approach, different attention to art. because generally, of course, the people who are professionals and they're involved in all this, let's say, sector or in the art scene, they know what they're doing. But the rest of the, let's say, the general public has still a bit ancient idea of what art is. And I think artists, they're professionals like any others. And their job has to be really taken seriously. This is not a hobby, and it's their way of expressing themselves and a way of paying bills and meeting deadlines. And I think this is something that that should be promoted in any possible way. In first place, that artist and art actually matters. It's not just something that we do from time to time. Yeah, because for me the job of an artist is as much important as the job of a lawyer or a judge, and etc. And I think this is something that there is still a lot to work on, in my opinion. And of course, I'm happy to imagine that this will change sooner or later. But of course, there are many elements that make all this process slower and more complicated. And it's a normal evolution of things, in my opinion, that there are certain steps chronologically that just have to pass, and at some point there will be, of course, a result. And having as an example, for example, the Western countries, other countries that have already developed this structure and this system, and where the whole mechanism kind of works. So I think it's just a matter of tuning things and working a bit more hard, of course, of promoting not just artists, but developing a different approach to all the institutions that are involved in this process. And I don't know, maybe some question or some doubt about what I said.
Somebody wants to ask something?
You talked about the institution as a kind of promoter of primitive art, or no, how did you call it? Ancient art?
Primitive.
And
no.
I was thinking about what are the new models, how do you promote art in terms of business models? Because art, you know, is gonna, how do you change the asset and the value of it is in business?
How do you change, sorry?
How art becomes, how can we convince the people who appreciate, or how in business, because it's obviously changing, so let's not call it art. How can it become an asset?
An asset? Well, it will sound horrible, but art piece is still a product. And like any product, it needs marketing, it needs promotion, and it needs to be presented in a way that somebody wants to acquire it. And this is, let's say, the boring and the very, very strict and...
Boring and strict, what do you mean?
Boring and strict compared to the concept of art. I'm talking from the perspective as promoting art as a product.
So you as a mediator between the artist, the dealer, the curator, the gallerist and the buyer, what kind of artists you actually represent? Photographers, or like what is your specialty of
well,
expertise?
I work mostly, all the artists I work with are visual artists, they are painters. Yes.
I have a question as well. Then how do you fund the projects? Because you said you believe in the freedom of the artist, that the artist has to work freely. But then, of course, we all know that this needs sometimes a serious funding. Do you find it, or you cooperate maybe sometimes with different foundations?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I think it's the main purpose is to connect these elements, to find the fundings for certain projects, depending on the scale of the projects. Of course, searching for the proper investors in this project. and mostly the proper interest. So, like I said, it's many times it's a question just of management and promotion. But I still believe that this is something that an artist should not deal with, because it's a way of limiting the creativity of the artist. And I've had many conversations with friends of mine that share this opinion, artists, of course, that it really takes big time of their creative process, of their time, also physical time, to deal with these things.
Oh, I believe that. For me, a free artist is a little bit of utopia, in the meaning of free, not dealing with any other things than just creating art, because the world is very dynamic, so we need to deal with so many other stuff, but I hope you do it that way. I'm really, that's great what you're saying.
Well, I think not just the artists, everybody should allow in certain moment to be idealist. So I think it's important to start with this idealistic idea of freedom in art and everything we do.
Absolutely.
In this relation, for example, I could quote this famous Bulgarian author and political dissident, Georgi Markov, that he wrote in a letter to his very good friend Dimitar Bochev, another author in Bulgaria, that he got to a conclusion that the society generally is not divided between bad and good, or left and right, or believers or non-believers, but he basically separates society into people that can do and people that cannot. And the people that can do, he considers artists. And for him, the idea of an artist is not just this, what we have in mind, not necessarily a painter or a performer or a musician, but for him, an artist is somebody who does his job, let's say it that way, with passion.
Yeah.
And for him,
very well said.
An artist could be a fisherman in the sea, or a woman that gives birth, or a baker in the bakery around the corner. And this is for him the main difference, let's say, in society.
That's beautiful said.
And if you allow me just to finish with
Please,
this, that I think it's very important that in this context that not just the artists are artists, but I would say that all these elements involved in the art scene, like galleries, dealers, or museums, they have to try to get to this state of an artist in what they do.
Just a second, we have another question.
I would be very interested in your view of the current state of contemporary art in Bulgaria, because you have a bit of an outsider's look on it. So if you met some collector on the other end of the world who has never met or learned anything about Bulgaria, and there is one thing you need to tell him about the current state of idiosyncrasy of Bulgarian scene, what would that be?
Well, like I said, I still have a lot of time to spend here, and I'm sure I have a lot of people to meet and to get to know. So what I would say to this person would be based on, let's say, my limited experience so far. But yeah, I'll describe it as a uncharted territory in many ways, worth it to visit, worth it to investigate, and definitely as something new. Not just Bulgaria, but generally the area of the Balkans. It's very underestimated in other parts of Europe for many things, and unfortunately also the whole artistic scene is underestimated, and it's considered that is something that comes from behind Italy, and that's pretty much all. For many people, of course, I'm not talking about the professionals that work in this sector, but the general public knows very little about Bulgaria or the Balkan art.
Somebody else a question? Okay, then I have maybe one very last question. Do you have any ideas maybe? Of course, I agree that we have to represent more the art world to different scenes, but also to change the image of an artist, not as somebody who has a hobby, but really somebody who has to make a living out of it. Like maybe some ideas, what you see in other countries, Spain, or how they do it. What is missing here? It's not necessary that you know, but just if you have any idea.
Well, I think in first place it has to be much more visible, much more present, and much more supported, of course, by the Ministry of Culture, by public institutions, national museums. I see, for example, without entering in details, but for example, leading national museums that have a very, very limited program and very limited, let's say, means also to develop something bigger or something more complex. So there is just, how to say, there is just not enough funding, basically. It's that simple, I think. And then through this funding, of course, then the other moment would be that even if this funding would exist, are there the correct people, or do they have the proper approach to canalize this funding, and where this funding would go? So I think it's really necessary that in some key positions that some changes should be done, and people with different experience also should be in these positions. Basically, people that know how to canalize this imaginary so far funding.
Thank you very much. This was Deyan Pavlov. Or do you have something else to say?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deyan, very much.
No, thank you. My pleasure.
Our next guest, Marina Sturbenko from Kiev Щербенко Art Center. She's working mainly with Ukrainian artists. She's supporting a lot of projects all over the world. She's here at the process space with one of her artists, Maria Proshkovska, who did also a wonderful performance the other day during the festival residence program. Marina will tell us a little bit more about the way she works, and maybe tell us a little bit more about her cooperation with artists. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And my presentation. I'm very blessed to take part in this important project, the Process Space Art Festival. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Marina Sturbenko. I'm a curator and the founder of the Щербенко Art Center, the Muhi Young Ukrainian Artists Competition, and the cultural platform ArtUp, and the Ukrainian Film and Video Art Festival PROMIN. Let me briefly introduce these initiatives. First of all, Щербенко Arts Center, established in 2012 on the basis of Bottega Gallery in Kyiv, is dedicated to fostering social change through contemporary art. Its mission is to change stereotypes and promote socially engaged artist practices while actively contribution to both local and international cultural discourse. Muhi, Young Ukrainian Competition for young artists, launched in 2009, is a comprehensive competition that aims to identify and support emerging Ukrainian artists. It helps integrate them into the national and global art scenes through professional development, exhibitions, and visibility. ArtUp is an interdisciplinary platform that produce projects and products in collaboration across art, design, fashion, cinema, literature, music, and more. PROBLEMИ is a festival of Ukrainian cinema and video art. Its first edition will take place in Lisbon from July 25 to 27 this year. The festival aims to support and promote Ukrainian culture on the international stage. Today I'm presenting the performative installation Staying in Trouble by artist Maria Proshkovska, which she realized in Baltic as part of the project-based art festival. Maria Proshkovska is an Ukrainian artist whose practice explores gender, trauma, and feminist issues through socially engaged performance and installation. She is a winner of the special prize at the Muhi Young Ukrainian Artist Competition in 2017. Received a special award from Vogue UA and participated in the American Art Incubator in Ukraine. Her works have been shown across Europe and North America and are held in both institutional and private collections. I will begin with what defines Ukrainian existence today. The Russia-Ukrainian war is a war against our identity, independence, solidarity, and safety, among other things. Millions of people have been forced to leave their cities and have lost their homes, but even more have lost their sense of safety altogether. And within this experience of destruction, a fundamental question arises: is it possible to create shelter, even a temporary one, in a world that is constantly falling apart? This project is both a response and a present within the question. The title of the live installation and duration performance Staying in Trouble, created by Maria Proshkovska, is borrowed from the work of Donna Haraway, who speaks about the need to flee from crisis, but to stay with it, to live alongside pain, complexity and stability. But in Maria's version, it also becomes a question: can we stay in this vulnerability together? Maria Proskowska works with the body, material, and space. In her work, Staying in Trouble, the artist creates a temporary structure out of clay, straw, water, and sea salt, an archaic mixture similar to saman. This technique was traditionally used in rural construction in both Bulgaria and Ukraine. In her work, however, it becomes a ritual not just of building, but a gesture of seeking shelter, one that no longer exists. Maria began working on this project and you can see now the photos of project Staying in Trouble, and I want to represent more projects by Maria for understanding this work. Maria began working on invisible labor during the Sound ID International Residency in the Carpathian in the summer of 2019 and continued developing it in Kyiv. The central element of is a performance in which she embroiders a traditional Ukrainian wedding rushnik, but without using thread. This silent gesture brings attention to the invisibility of women's daily labor, transforming a repetitively and seemingly meaningless act into a subtle form of protest. The rushnik, traditionally a symbol of female identity and sacrifice, becomes a site of silent resistance and redefinition. The absence of thread draws focus to the emotional and physical weight of domestic work and the complexity of navigation traditional gender roles. Maria incorporates saman, a historical mix of clay, straw, and water traditionally used in vernacular house construction in Ukraine as a symbolic material connection, the domestic space to labor, endurance, and collective memory. Together with natural stones, enhance the installation in the physicality of women's everyday responsibilities. The project reinterprets utilitarian domestic materials not only as carriers of memory, but also as tools of female solidarity, resilience, and legacy. The exhibition is accompanied by a sound piece of contemporary composer Katerina Krivul and a text by researcher Ustina Stefanchuk, read by the artist. And next project, Farina. On September 17, 2023, artist Maria Proskowska represented a 5-hour solo performance at Mambo in Bologna, curated by Lorenza Balbi and Giulia Pezzoli. The performance took place in the former public bakery Forno del Pain, a space that once provided daily bread for the city and now functions as a center for contemporary art and cultural support. After the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, Maria and her son Ilya found refuge in Bologna, where the city and Mambo offered them safety and a space to continue her artistic practice. This performance became both a gesture of gratitude to the city and a deeply personal reflection on war, displacement, loss, and the ongoing global food crisis. For 5 hours, the artist manually ground flour from Ukrainian grain that had been burned in a direct muscle strike. This act took place publicly between the two historic chimneys of the old bakery, recalling the site's original purpose, a place of nourishment and community. Through this symbolic and physically demanding gesture, Maria highlights the fragility of human life and the stage of solidarity. Today, the work is part of the Central St. Martin's Museum and study collection in London. And next work is No-Name Ritual. No-Name Ritual is an interdisciplinary performance created at the invitation of VOC-UA to mark the 30th anniversary of Ukraine's independence. The work reflects on the routine of processing personal experience, repetitive, absurd, and physically demanding, yet necessary. The act of grinding dust of millstones becomes a metaphor for the inner transformation and the effort it takes to move forward. The project includes photography and video by Sergei Morgunov, which not only document the performance but also exist as independent artworks deeply connected to Ukrainian soil. The performance documentation was featured on the cover on the special VOC-UA art issue. And the artworks from the project are now held in private collection in Ukraine and Taiwan. Maria Proshkovska's work is a practice of survivor care and resembling the self and in relation to other. She forms an ethics of ritual in times of loss, where even the most absurd action becomes meaningful if it allows us to stay present, remain with experience, and transform pain into knowledge. These projects are connecting not by format style, but by a philosophy of action. Body plus material plus repetition equal a path toward meaning, one that does not arrive quickly, but emerges through movement and presence. Using the selected project by the artist, Staying in Trouble, Farina, Invisible Labor, No-Name Ritual, I trace a clear coherence and consistency in her artistic practice. She uses materiality as a tool for memory, experience, and trauma. In each of these projects, the artist works with a specific substance that carries deep symbolic meaning: saman, charred grain, dust on millstones, fabric. Proshkovska uses material not as a decorative element, but as a medium for inner work, historical continuity, and embodied presence. Each project is based on ritual repetition or monotonous action, building a structure, grinding grain for 5 hours, embroidering without thread, grinding dust. These are absurd, seemingly future distorts, yet they allow the experience to be lived through physically and slowly, in repetition, like in therapy or prayer. In all of these works, the body labor to the point of exhausting becomes present in an action that may have no result, but holds deep experiential meaning. It appears as political, feminine, vulnerable, yet resilient. In direct interaction with material and environment. The body does not represent the idea. It becomes the idea, the experience, the gesture itself. All of these works explore the theme of shelter as a space of loss and possibility. Staying in trouble, a question. Is it possible to find shelter in a collapsing world? Farina, a gesture of gratitude for refuge in exile, marked by the embodied memory of loss. Invisible labor, an inner shelter formed through silence, textiles, and song. No-name ritual. Shelter as an act, an inner process that cannot delegate it, but must be lived through in gesture. In each case, shelter is not an architectural structure, but in an act of effort and presence. Thank you for your attention, and now I would like to invite Maria to the stage.
I think we can share.
You can be with us.
Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Marina. I didn't know what Marina is preparing as a presentation, and I feel a little bit like embarrassed, but I am very pleased to be here, and I'm very happy to have this opportunity to work, to be a part of this residency, and to with our performative work to deliver these questions that are crucial for not only for Ukrainians actually, but for all of us as a human beings.
Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? I think it makes perfect sense. Thank you, Marina, for your presentation, and it makes perfect sense to present your work through one of the artists you represent, and especially the one that is here with us. I wanted to tell you that the last performance, Staying in Trouble, is filmed, and it will be presented this evening at the exhibition opening at the fourth floor, sorry, in the mill. So we're gonna watch the presentation again, your performance. So come again in the evening, please.
May I add something?
Please, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to. Sorry,
Don't worry.
It's a performative action. I wanted to add something. So, Marina prepared a very professional presentation as a curator, and she described in a deep big depths and detail my practice, but I would like to add this is a remarkable person in a Ukrainian contemporary art scene that was for a year consistently working for developing the contemporary art in Ukraine on a very professional level, and she gave a chance for many young Ukrainian artists to be professionally represented in a very well-established and welcoming institution, Щербенко Art Center, but not only there. And lots of artists and colleagues are very grateful. So am I. Thank you very much.
Thank you one more time. Now I would like to invite you for 15 minutes pause. We have catering outside, just when you come outside here. 15 minutes pause, and we will go further with Katrin Zinger from Katrin Zingher Foundation, with Katya Trичкова. At the very end, Katya Trичкова will also show us the movie The Man Who Couldn't Be Silent, which was also nominated this year for Oscar. So please stay till the end. See you in 15 minutes.
horrible. This light. Okay. Много.
Здравейте отново. Продължаваме нашата лекторска дискусия. Бих искала да ви кажа, че това, което се случва тук в Балчик в момента, се стримва онлайн. Хората могат да го гледат на живо, така че ако искате, може да поканите и вашите приятели в социалните мрежи, като влезте в Фондация Процес Пространство, страниците в социалните мрежи, може да намерите линк към нашия стриминг. До тук имаме голям интерес на гледания, особено мога да кажа, че първата година, когато не знаеха, че се стримва, така беше много по-малък процента на хората, които са го гледали всичко, което говорим днес. И така, искам да продължа с една много интересна дама, Катрин Зингер, и нейният съпруг, Зингер-Захариев. Те са колекционери. I'll switch in English, sorry. I'm going to present you Katrin Zingher, a very intriguing person, and Zингер-Захариев, her husband. They're art collectors. I'm very fortunate to meet them this year at the festival. And they have a foundation, Katrin Zingher, since a couple of years. Katrin Zingер-Захариев Foundation. And they're funding also art projects. So I give you the microphone and looking forward to hear what you have to tell us.
So, good afternoon. It's already time to say good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us to this project, Prostranstvo. We have heard about it a lot, but never really knew what it was all about. So thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you for having this opportunity to talk these really kind, creative, intelligent artists and curators. We had just an amazing 3 days already. So thank you. And some words about our foundation. Because we have seen each other for the last 3 days, I will make it shorter than I thought I will do. The idea to start the foundation actually Carmen just loaded this picture of us, me and him in London. And after we lived in Ukraine, we promised the Ukrainian and other artists in Kiev to organize exhibitions in London for them. And this photo was made by one of the best Ukrainian photographers, Igor Gaidai, in our house in London. But to be honest, I love the photo. It's really, really nice. I like it. But to be honest, when we then thought about what we are going to do in the next 10 years, we realized the place to do it is in Bulgaria and not in London. So we started the foundation 5 years ago and never looked back because it was the right thing to do. Why did we do it? Because after so many years being away from Bulgaria, especially Carmen, who is Bulgarian, we understood better than before how complicated the situation was in the country, the trauma of all the changes, of all the political changes. And the best way to support the country is to support contemporary art. Because the people who are involved in contemporary art are the most positive, the most active, people who are looking forward to change the country. And we thought it would be really good to be part of this process. And our first project was an open call. So we started in 21, the open call, but very successful. The winner was Krasimira Butsova. Very proud of ourselves because when she won, she was a very young artist. And last year she was presenting Bulgaria at Venice. So obviously we had a very good hand in selecting her as the winner of our open call. But very quickly we understood that it is not really necessary that we do our own projects. Because you start, of course, with great ideas of what you're going to do, but we understood we should be here to support people who are active, who have all these wonderful ideas and projects, but they need help. So that's why we started in 22 our grant program, and we just counted with Carmen. Altogether, we supported 55 projects in the last 4 years. So 11 and 22, and among them are really diverse ideas and projects and artists. We supported an amazing dance project in Gabrovo in 22 with Costa Karakashian. We supported Sofia Art Week with Voin, who has been organized for many years. Catalogs, the exhibition of Marta Jurina in Germany. So all these things come together, like supporting art in Bulgaria, making Bulgaria more known, as Deyan already said in his lecture, making art Bulgaria more known abroad, but also to bring foreign artists into Bulgaria, that they know that it's a really good country where there are artists who are very European, very educated, and at high quality. So there is this international aspect in our work which we find very rewarding. I can't tell you how nice the feeling is when you have a French artist around the table and saying, look, I had never known about Bulgaria, but I will come again because I really love it and I would like to continue working with Bulgarian artists. It's the most rewarding feeling. So I forgot one project because that is really important for us. We supported, I didn't want to tell about all the projects we have supported. There are so many, but one which is really important is the support of the Buna Festival. Is now already in our 3rd year. We met Ralica, who is the main driver of the festival, and of course it's a new experience for us at a different level, and we are really happy to be part of it. So last year then, you know, you have the grant program and you are helping, but you're not really in the driving seat of the projects. We thought with Carmen again and again that we need to develop a different way of developing the communication and the connection between the artists in the Balkan. Because as with the beginning, when we came to Bulgaria, we realized after 5 years that as in Bulgaria, also in the Balkan, there are so many problems and conflicts, but never between the artists. So again, as we started in 21, again, the same feeling, we should bring together the artists of the Balkan because they are the most progressive people. They don't have the problems as the politicians have. So you have to support the positive part of the country. And also, we had this feeling, the artists are good, but they always have to run away to Vienna, to Berlin, to Amsterdam to get recognition. And it should be, and it's great that they can do it, and we think that this European idea is a good idea, but they should be awarded and gratified also in their own country, in the Balkan. And that's why we came up with the idea to start the Balkan Contemporary Art Prize. It was a difficult birth for me and Carmen because we realized as a small foundation it's quite a challenge to develop this kind of project. But we talked to so many people in Bulgaria who are more experienced than we are. Luchida Boydiev, Yara Bubnova, everybody we talked to, they supported the idea. Everybody said, yes, do it. And so more and more we were convinced that is the right thing to do. It was complicated to take the decision because it is hard work. But finally we found again Buna and Ralica Georgieva as a partner. And so we are now starting the first Balkan Contemporary Art Prize this year in September in Buna. So we found, we thought last year about the jury, again an important part of the whole project because to be seen by famous people, by professional art experts like Anna Frankovska, like Zdenka Badovinac. It is important for the artist, not just to have a national jury, but an international. So we have a wonderful jury with these two ladies, but with Kalin Serapiano, from the director of the Institute of Contemporary Art, Vladia Mikhailova, the director of Topla Central, and Sasha Walter, who is one of the really famous, good artists here in this country. So 5 professional people who will see an enormous amount of art projects. Larissa just told us that more than 140 people applied for this year for Buna, about 50 people from Balkan countries. So we have a lot of participation from Croatia, from Serbia, from all these countries. We are very happy about it. It was not easy because we also traveled to these countries to get the attention and to get the information out for this one. Okay, this is, you can all find it on the website, bunavana.org. There's the open call is now closed, but all the information about the festival, you find it. I wanted to add something what I actually wasn't asked about, but I think it's important because we speak about art a lot, but finally it's a lot about financing. And people were asking here about how do you fund it and how do you do it. And I know there are many different ways of doing it. Everything it's complicated. But I think it's a way how to finance it and how to get forward. It's a very, very important part of the whole situation, because you are here in Bulgaria or in Serbia or in Romania, you're not alone, because cuts in art are everywhere. When you open the page, like this week there was the budget in England, what is cut? Art. You go to all the countries, cuts. And what do they say? And I think it's the right thing, the right approach. You have to find companies who support art. That's the way of doing it. And that's why I wanted to say a little bit about, I think it's not very sexy, but I wanted a little bit to talk about taxes. You know, in this famous, amazing book by Harari, he touches at the beginning of his book, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, on the topic of taxes and how the society has been developed because of taxes. This was very important. As soon as agriculture developed, you had to raise taxes for other things, for the army, whatever. And that's the same now nowadays. It's about taxes. And what is our experience? And I think Christina Bobokov will share our opinion. What is the situation in Bulgaria? We do good things, we give our money, we support. What do we get from the state? We have to pay for an accountant. Carmen has to spend a lot of time in reporting and sending them contracts. And then we have to pay 6% taxes. On what? It is absolutely impossible to know, because we don't make any profits, we don't make any money, we just give money away. And that's why I thought it would be maybe interesting for you to know how it's done in other countries. Also complicated, but it is done. And it is a question of legislation. And I know you are not the people who are lawmakers, but I think as artists and as other people who are here in the group, sometimes you have discussions. I thought, for example, Christina, with your friends of the Friends of Process Prostranstvo, they are people from business, your husband is in business. We have to develop a different attitude in the state, how to make it attractive for business to not to make money, but at least not to lose money in supporting art. I can give you several examples I like. In Germany we have this very famous title, Kunst am Bau. That means if you do a new construction of a new building, I'll have a look not to make mistakes because I wrote it down. Not by 5 to 2% of the construction cost should go to art. You know? I mean, 5% of the production cost, construction cost is quite a lot of money. So, but it's not only money, you know, they have to give the money to the artists, but there's also collaboration between the architects, the artists, the people who live there. So it's getting closer to the communities and include architects and other professionals. It's a big budget. I spoke to my brother who lives in Germany and said to him, how does it work? And he said, Katrin, it is complicated because we just had a new school in our village. It's a town, it's not a village. The construction cost was 7 million for the school, but then finally they couldn't agree on the artist. And so they didn't get the money, even that is a law in Germany. And I told Kamis about it, and he said, do you remember our discussion with in London about the same project? So there is a person in London, like a curator, who connects the developer and the artist, and they are working together during all the construction of the very beautiful, it was the Battersea Power Station, together to make this link between company who doesn't know anything about art and the developer and the artist to make it happen. So it's a complicated process and people can avoid it, as I saw with my brother's example, but there's a way of doing it. So there is experience. The other thing is, at the moment, I don't know if you have been to London in the last time, there is this new metro link between the east and the west. It's called Elizabeth Line. Before it was called Elizabeth Line, it was called Crossrail. And there's this Crossrail Art Fund. And I looked into the Art Fund, the Crossrail Art Fund. It's amazing. So they commissioned for all the stops, not for all of sorts, that's not right. They commissioned for several stops, 7 stops. They commissioned 10 artists to do artwork for the new line, to have a different experience for the people who travel, for the people who live there. And so what they did, and you could do it in Bulgaria or in other countries as well, whenever there's a stop, they spoke to Selfridges to finance it. They spoke to Heathrow Airport to finance it. And the City of London, that is the other thing, what we try now in our village in Malakizwa, that people have to understand you give money, but other people have to match it, matching funds. That is quite a popular thing in England. You know, there is financing, but someone has to match it. I only give the money for the playground we are doing now in the village if the village also gives the money, because they are not used to give money. You know, and it's quite a complicated process. We had to do contracts as well, but that's the idea of matching. So the 7 stops in London, companies are involved. The City of London is matching it, and then there's the art fund. There's an art fund in London who gives additional money to do it. 10 artists are involved, 7 stops. That's a great thing to promote art. Then there are also, what exists in London and in Germany as well, it's not legally binding, but there are these planning permissions. You don't get planning approval if you don't have art in your project. So I saw it in Sofia now, sometimes, going back to the Crossrail Art Fund, it could be a project for the metro in Sofia. There's a new metro, it's beautifully done, but where's the art? I come in shops, no art at all. So it could have been an idea for Sofia or for other cities as well. Planning permissions is very interesting because it's not all about buildings and offices. It is about the places around it to make them that people love being there, not just parking their cars there. It's all parking spaces. So I think planning permissions, and you see it in England, Manchester has a big program with planning permissions, how to make the city better. Birmingham has a big program. So planning permission is a very important thing. And the other thing that could be done if we have the power to change it is, as I said at the beginning, it's about taxes. And what do the English do? I looked it up, but there are so many numbers. I don't want to bore you with all these numbers. It's about tax relief. So you invest, into art because you get a tax relief. You pay corporate taxes and you pay less corporate taxes because there's a tax relief. Just to let you know some of the numbers, because I found it really interesting. There is, for example, 25% tax relief for film production costs. That's about England. There's 40% reduction of business rates for museum galleries, relief yes, for museum and galleries. There's even a marketing and advertising expenses are generally tax-deductible costs, like logo placement, hospitality for art. So you give the money, but you get a little bit back. So you would use a little bit your expenses. That doesn't save the world, but at least maybe if people are inclined to support art, it makes their life a little bit easier, because the businesses are not there to lose money. I mean, they want at least compensate a little bit. And the other thing what I find as a person really important, I think Maria and other people know it, it is the gift aid thing in England. So if you pay taxes, like me, I pay taxes in England, and whenever I give money to companies or to an artist, they ask me if I pay taxes in England. And if I pay taxes in England, there is this gift aid. So for example, I give them £100, and they can claim 25%, so they get £125, not just my £100. And as a person who has a company or pays taxes, I can reduce again my taxes because I gave away. That is that's very common in England, and because there are so many people who give small amounts, for the companies, especially for the galleries and for the, that's important, because it's 25% here, £30 here. It seems like not a lot, but it comes together. So this gift aid idea is very widespread in England. I know exactly that these companies, they can't replace the state. So still there will be a Ministry of Culture, still there will be NFK. I don't say that they don't have a right to existence, but it should be not just them. It should be the Ministry of Culture and private sponsors and foundation who work together to support art. So I think this is the main idea I wanted to transfer to you, that we have to do something to change the system step by step. One more idea probably, what is important for us, for Cam and me, the whole process is very rewarding. To be part of this art scene, to help, to understand how artists are thinking, is of a big benefit for us and makes our life better, I must say. And it is also a very important message to transport to companies and people who like art, that it's very important. It could be a very important part of their life. Thank you.
I'm sure you will have different questions also in Bulgarian. Please, we both speak Bulgarian, so if you feel more comfortable speaking Bulgarian, както решите.
Does somebody have a question?
Здравейте, много благодаря за това, което каза Катрин. Ти спомена за много проблеми, които всички ние сме констатирали през годините, особено на институционално ниво. А как смяташ, че те всъщност могат да бъдат решени именно на институционално ниво? Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Разбирам.
Защото проблемите в нашето законодателство са от много време. Ние ги знаеме. И закона за меценатството, който го няма, и други законови проблеми също. Обаче тези промени не се случват така или иначе. Независимо кой в момента политически ни управлява. Защо не се случва това според вас? Дали това не трябва да дойде всъщност именно от артистите?
Не само от артистите. Ако мога да си позволя да бъда малко груб, политическата класа в България не е на ниво, когато става дума за културата. Ако се сравняваме и с другите балкански страни и т.н., няма го разбирането. И затова такива неща, които, например, Катрин спомена, за това, че дарения за благотворителни цели за изкуството се приравняват към аз да си дара къщата леля ми си и плащам 6% данък върху дарения и по същия начин да бъдат третирани дарения в полза на изкуството. Това е абсолютно глупост, която трябва да се промени и не е трудно да се промени, но някой трябва да мисли в тази посока. Да не говорим за болната тема за виртуалния музей на съвременното изкуство в България и т.н. Тоест, много от тези неща в България се развиват по българския начин, под радара, полу-нелегално, като герила. Изведнъж се появява една сцена, която на нас много ни харесва, за да не бъда негативен, но понеже стана въпрос как да се променят нещата, ще трябва да се променя и културата в политическата класа, няма да стане иначе. И в бизнеса, разбира се. Но на нас ни харесва това, което виждаме в момента. Ние виждаме и проблемите, виждаме недостатъците, но и виждаме една много пъстра, вибрираща сцена. Разнообразна, в повечето случаи доста модерна, свързана с европейските и световните тенденции, понякога малко самобитно, понякога отсъства комерческия аспект, което е и хубаво, и лошо. I will say this in English. I like Bulgarian tomatoes very much. Bulgarian tomatoes are completely tasty, and they are, but not in the supermarket. Because in the supermarket they are all commercially produced in big production sites, and the varieties are made for transportation and durability and not for taste. So I compare a little bit the art scene in Bulgaria to the Bulgarian tomatoes. They're not very commercial in many aspects, but they are tasty.
That was great. I like Bulgarian tomatoes as well, and I like what you just said.
It's a new performance for you.
This was great. Another question. Somebody? Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, Katrin and Kamen. Yes, I believe I like the honesty that in your presentation. That's why we are here, as in the beginning I said. And also, really, I believe we need much more to invest in this, so the people will understand the need of funding, why the art need to exist in general first, maybe. This is again for our politicians. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have our last guest, Katya. Katya Trичкова is a film director. You can come here. Film producer. Sorry. Katya, stay. You don't like. Okay. Katya would like to present herself and her work. Standing.
Can I talk now? Okay. So I'm just producer. Unfortunately.
Yes, I'm sorry. Katya Trичкова is a film producer.
I wanted to be director
I will come next to you.
I really love art, and that's why I'm so grateful to Rada and to Chrissy to inviting me here. I love artists since I studied law in my university, and the biggest artist and the greatest one was in the faculty of painting. So it was really a great time. But anyway, I love music, literature, and also art. And I was thinking, what can I do to contribute to this one? And this is how, after being not lawyer, but working in the legal field for several years, I decided to study filmmaking and to combine all these arts in once. But then I understood that being director is really, really very tough and responsible job. And I got scared. And I said, okay, I get here, I cut off my bridges, to the law. What should I do? Maybe I can support some people who are truly talented. So this is how I became producer and started to work with the directors. And I'm very happy to be here because I can meet such inspiring and talented people, and also to see some people like me who nourish the talents, who created space for them, who are doing the really dirty job of finding money and be responsible for reporting this money, but just to give a space for these talents. And from what I hear from the previous presentations, we have in a way common problems, like who needs our art, because not only in Bulgaria but also in many other countries around us, we don't have a lot of audience for the local films, which is really pity. Because when we don't make commercial films but like more author-driven films, like contemporary artists doing, we give a space for our authors to express some vision, some idea, to tell a story that they believe in, but this is not always a commercial project, in a way. So for us, it's really one of the problems that we think and we try to work on is the audience development, how to bring people to the cinemas. And I think this is also valid for the art as well, because if we want from the taxes people to pay for art or for cinema, they need our art and our cinema. And in a way, we have to educate these people to need it, to, even if they don't understand it, to love it and to have needs to see beautiful things like Katrin said around. Okay, this was the intro, sorry.
Thank you very much. I think it's a big win for the art world that we also have people like you coming from different fields that really understand from the very beginning the support, the need of support for the art world in general. I'm talking. Katya Trичкова is a winner of, she was a best producer last year.
Can I introduce? Yes. Thank you, Rada, but I don't like.
Again?
No. Okay, so I'm producer. I'm Bulgarian producer. I work internationally. I worked for 12 years with one of the most established Bulgarian directors, Stefan Komandarev. Yes. We did together films like Directions, which was in a certain regard in Cannes. Then we did Rounds, which was in Sarajevo. Our previous film, Blagast Lessons, won the main prizes in Karlovy Vary. Then it was the Bulgarian submission for Oscars. But I also work internationally with directors from different countries. And my last short film, me as Bulgarian co-producer of the Croatian director Nebojša Sljepčević, actually was one of the biggest successes of films supported by Bulgaria, even as minority, because this film won Palme d'Or in Cannes, it won European Film Awards, it won César, which was really very tough. And also the film was nominated for Oscars. So we were one of the 5 nominated films for the Oscars this year. And it was quite a journey, to be honest, because this film is a short film. It's only 14 minutes, and you will watch it afterwards. And it took us like 2 years and almost 2.5 years to finance it. I can understand that we are in a way more privileged than the artists because we have this system of state funding in Europe. We can apply with projects and to get money from the state if they like the project. But still, money are not enough. That's why we have to work internationally and to try to find money from different sources. And for films like Nebojša's films, or as I said, like author-driven films, which are quite often social dramas, we don't have a lot of room, to make like sponsorships or to do some product placement. Yeah. So yeah, we have to be really creative in finding money, and if we cannot find all the money to be creative, how to make it. And this is one of the challenges and the good things in our profession. you know, to find the opportunities in film school looks not impossible. So The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, a film by Nebojša Slepčević from Croatia, majority financing from Croatia, anti-talent, Daniel Peck and Katarina Pričić. It all started like 2.5 years when Daniel, who is a dear friend of mine, because we studied together in one producer's workshop, European producers workshop, he sent me an email and he wrote me that he wants me to read one short film and, if possible, to apply in Bulgaria for co-financing. At that time, I was just lost my father from COVID, which was quite unexpected. And also I was in preparation for shootings in Romania, so it was in a way really difficult period. And I said, okay, Daniel, send me the script. You know, I don't do short films anymore. I'm in this stage of my career that it should be something really very, I don't know, extraordinary. But because you're my friend, and give me 2 weeks, you know, just to come back to my feet, and I will read it, and then we can talk, you know. And actually, I read it quite faster because I had to work, you know, to move further. Works can help sometime. And I really love the story. So I wrote him and I said, okay, let's try to finance it in Bulgaria. We don't have separate financing for short films, co-productions. So this means that we had to compete with all the full-length films, established directors, etc. Because the director Nebojša, he comes from the documentary background. He has very strong documentary films, but now he was in the competitions about the fictions. So we applied in Bulgaria with this film, and we got no. And we were below the line, even with the financing. And some of the comments from the jury members, and these are people who are like us, scriptwriters, producers, directors, some of the comments were really harsh. You know, it's really pissed me off when I read them. And in the meantime, in parallel, my colleagues applied also in Denmark. They got no. They applied in Slovenia. In Slovenia, they said no. And it looked like this film will not move further. And then we met in Sarajevo for the film festival in August with Daniel. And he said, okay, can we try again? Can we reapply? You know, really, we should try again. And I said, yes, I think we should try again because now the jury members will be different persons, you know. Some time has passed. We can redo some of the documents, you know, and to see what's working, what's not. Let's try again. And we try again. And this time, as I said, there were different jury members, and the project was on the first place. And this was the reason why we got support. Because if we were on the second or third, the fiction films will get all the amount of the subsidy, but because we were on the first place, they decided to support us. Also, in that time, a French co-producer joined us, but we didn't get money from France. But the French co-producer invested money from the government given for her company, and then we reapplied in Slovenia again. And in the meantime, Daniel and Katarina, who are really crazy people, said, okay, we'll do it anyway, even if we have a gap in the financing. So let's shoot it. And we shot it for 4 days in Zagreb during the winter, in the end of February, beginning of January. We had Bulgarian costume designer, makeup, and also sound guy. And also we agreed that the sound post-production will be made in Bulgaria. And all this was for 25,000 euro support from Bulgaria. And then in the end of April, results came from Slovenia, and it was again no. So we still had gap, but we had a film already, pretty good film. And we applied for Cannes Film Festival. And then in the beginning of May last year, we got yes from Cannes. And on the very same day, Slovenian Film Fund changed their mind. And they said, look, maybe we'll find this 25,000 euros. So the film moved further, and we got this money. And the other is the history. I mean, after being in Cannes in the film festival, we competed with 12 other short films, very different, very artistic, very strong movies, animations, hybrid films, fictions. Of course, we loved our film, but I was not sure where we are standing. We didn't expect the award. And once we got the award, then the things become really quite easy for the film. It went in more than 100 festivals so far, and has this really amazing trip worldwide, from Australia to North America. And now it's even distributed in North America as well. It was screened in Arte. And luckily we had such a good collaboration, all the producers in this film, that 2 days ago I understood that Nebojša, the director, got grant for his full-length film, and now we will start to finance in the same country with the same setup of co-producers. So why I said this story? This is one of the very good, successful stories, but it took like 2.5 years, I say. And on this way, we had so many no's that if we didn't believe in the story, if we were not persistent, it's quite easy now to give up. So I think that art, financing art, is always more or less is the same story, you know. And one, of course, if you make it, the things become much more easy. But with every single project that I'm doing, it's not only because we're in Bulgaria, I think it's elsewhere. You start from the very beginning. Because when we talk about the problems in contemporary art, and I can talk about cinema, this is less financing for films, much bigger competition, a lot of content on the market. And I'm saying not only cinemas, but also platforms, streamers, TVs, etc. Too many content. In the same times, everybody talking, oh, we need the fresh films, we need fresh eyes, where are the debutants, we need the new up-and-coming filmmakers. And this is one of the most difficult tasks, to work with debutant director and to manage to find financing, because market says we need fresh authors, but they are not ready to take the risk and to finance the fresh authors. And of course, one young artist, in my case, director, he needs much more time, much more effort, to do this. Of course, he will make more mistakes.
Much more failures.
Yes.
Yes, we need that.
But we need that, So this is one of the problems that we are constantly facing. And after working with this established director, Stefan Komandarev, for so many years, I decided in the last years really to put the focus on new talents and to try to do this. And it's a challenging task, but also it's exciting in a way. So I don't know what the future will show. And also the market become more and more commercially orientated. I'm talking only about cinema. They don't look so much for art house films. Now they want genre films, even in big festivals like Cannes, Venice, and Berlin, etc. Because they need to bring audience back in the cinemas after COVID. So this is also a problem. I spoke recently with one very talented Bulgarian director about her last film, and about struggling to find a place where this film to be shown, etc. And she won in Locarno the biggest award, and she's very art house, very raw director. She's amazing. And she said, they told me, we like the film, but we are not sure we have place for this. So this is also a problem. How to find place, how to make people, and not people, but also festivals in our case, to need these films, to show something different. That's why the festivals are. So in brief, this is what are the problems from my perspective. I started with that I love art very much, and one of my passion projects was we did a short series, like between 5 and 7 minutes, like portraits of sculptures, photographers, painters, visual artists, Bulgarian ones, which we then distributed to all the authors so they can use for their promotional activities. And I mean, we really love this interaction with these talented people and my crew. Although we were underpaid, everybody were working with heart and soul for this project. It was so inspiring to enter in the atelier of the artists. What else should I say? When we talk about Untold, the log line of this year's edition, in cinema, less is more, maybe in the art as well. So it's very, very important not to try to say everything in one film, but but also to leave some spaces, for the audience to interact and to co-create the things that she's seeing. So untold things sometimes can be very important, and Nebojša did this really amazingly in his film. So I would suggest maybe to watch the film now. For those who are watching the streaming, unfortunately we have to stop it, but you can watch it in gledam.bg in this platform. And after that, we can talk a little bit more when you see the film. Okay?
Thank you, Катя.
Само ще помоля да загасим светлината.
Да, на български ще кажа. Сега това беше представянето на Катя Тричкова. Стриминга сега ще бъде спрян, защото ще гледаме филмът. До сега са гледали 200 човека. Това за нас е голямо събитие.
Благодарим ви.
Всяка година все повече интересуващи се от нашата лекция се събират и гледат тези лекции онлайн. Сега стриминга приключва, защото ще гледаме филма "Човекът, който не можеше да мълчи". Благодаря, Катя. След това, между нас, тук ще зададем въпроси, който иска. Освен това, който иска от гледащите ни на стриминг, може да гледа филма на гледам.bg. Благодаря ви.